Good afternoon. I'm Gary Barnes, Vice Chairman of the Planning and Economic Development Committee. And first thing on the agenda is roll call.
Mrs. Root, Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Burdick, Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Dibble,
Here.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mrs. Hopkins,
Here.
Mr. Ricky, Mr. Crandall. 6 members present.
Thank you. Next is approval of the minutes for the August 18th meeting. Yes, Legislator Healy
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
and Legislator Dibble, second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to our first presenter, Rita Sobeck Lynch, Employment and Training Director.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think you all have my monthly report. I'll just go over a few highlights from it. Our DSS services were down a little bit in the month of August because in July, we had sent out a lot of notices informing recipients of assistance of new changes in their job search requirements and job readiness training. So that was pretty big, and now people are coming in. We have scheduled appointments. We have the JRT class, which is running 4 classes a month, and we just started class number 2. After I think group number 3, I'll give you some statistics on how many are invited, and how many actually attend, and the reasons why they're not attending. In our summer youth employment, we have 2 people still employed. That was quite a success. And we'll do a memorandum of explanation to change some or transfer funds later. Our job fair was last week and will be included in the August or the September report. But we had 70 businesses represented with over 200 open positions. We had 30 businesses present, and then we also had a hospitality table because the people that own restaurants that have a lot of positions available aren't available during the day. So Bruce Thomas from the Wellsville Chamber ran that table, so that was extremely helpful. There's a nice article today in the Patriot that Cindy wrote, so thank you for that. And a lot of our customers lately are having problems applying for unemployment insurance benefits. It seems like the same problems that were present a year ago are still happening today. Not being able to get through on the phone, getting cut off. When you're applying online, it's the same things happening. The biggest problem is the ID Me. So we're just asking people to come into our office where we can walk them through that ourselves. It's very hard to do it over the phone talking to a customer, and it's a little easier if they come in.
Excuse me, the biggest problem was what again?
Unemployment insurance benefits.
I know, but in other words, getting a hold of them, what was the biggest problem?
The application process, but the biggest problem is the ID Me.
What's that?
It's where you have to go in and identify yourself, and you have to take a picture, you have to send them a picture, and then verify some other information, and that's hopefully to prevent fraud.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, Legislator Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rita, it said employment, you had 39 customers reported finding jobs year to date.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously down under veterans, you know veterans are near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
It's 7 veterans received services for job search, resume, and training information. Of the 39 customers that found the jobs year to date, did they include any veterans? And if so, could you give me a number for that?
It does include veterans, Mike, but I don't have that number in front of me, and I think if we just go back in the database, I can pull that out.
Okay.
I should have anticipated that question.
And is there additional funding out there for both employers and veterans in seeking employment and gaining employment?
We do not have additional funds for them other than the WIOA funds that we do get. And also at this time, our veterans rep from the New York State Department of Labor has retired, and there is no replacement. And actually, the Department of Labor isn't all back in their office yet. They're not seeing customers there.
Okay, is there something we should be doing to try to advocate for that veteran's position to be retained and filled?
It will be filled. It's just one of those lengthy processes through the Department of Labor.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We've been assured that it will be filled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Legislator Dibble?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm talking to several restaurants around the county that have trouble getting cooks. And like they've cut back on days a week and hours per day, like Aces in Belfast, the Mexican restaurant in Wallsville. He trained people how to cook Mexican food, but he can't get any people to come in and do that. So just pass it along to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Rita? We got a couple of requests here from you to transfer some funds.
Yes.
I got maybe one more question.
Oh, go ahead.
Going back to the jobs there, Phil, what do you think the problem is? I mean, obviously, we got quite a few people in Allegheny County that are not employed. Why do you think they're having problems filling these positions?
We're not really sure. There's no way to check a database to figure out if they just don't want to work. A lot of people retired last year, but these are positions you would think that would be opening entry-level positions.
Are some of these ones that some of these people are being paid to stay home? New York State unemployment and all the rest of that?
And those benefits ended, so they should be out looking for work. And there is a
I
job.
think if they wanted to eat, they'd be
Yeah,
working.
there's a
Yeah.
job search requirement for unemployment, insurance benefits now, and also public assistance if you're able to work.
But that issue's taken care of, they're being paid to stay home.
There may be some people that are receiving benefits that should be working, but
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to request to transfer some funds. Do you want to tell us about that?
These are the summer youth employment funds that are through our TANF funding, and what we're doing is we have to spend this money by September 30th. So by moving them here, what we do are replenish supplies that we use this year for the next year's program. And it will zero out the accounts.
Okay, that was from Legislator Hopkins. Second? Legislator Curran. All in favor? And any opposed? That's approved.
Thank you.
And the second one is you've got a position open, count clerk typist. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, this is the person who's responsible for assisting our accountant with the audit and payroll, and also as a support person for our work experience and their summer youth employment program, and also as backup support for our resource center.
That position is open now. Someone's retired or
Someone
left?
resigned and took another position.
Okay. Any comments?
Move it.
You making a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Legislator Dibble and Legislator Healy, make a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Thank you. Next on the list is Keir Durham, Planning Director, monthly report and request to transfer in some funds.
It took that long just to turn on from the card. So. Hello, everybody. Run over some things on my report. I noticed on the very first item on the bullets that I didn't write which community we were reorganizing the text and working on their comprehensive plan. That was Amity Belmont. Down below, I wanted to note that we've had a session this week with the Alfred State students. They're working with the communities of Fillmore, Belfast, and Belmont, and they have 3 separate classes this year. One thing we did find out that day, we didn't realize that they had rejiggered the syllabus to only be a half a semester for this aspect. So that changes things a little, but typically this part of the project would be done by Halloween anyway. So really the major thing that will be missing for those communities would be there'd usually be one more session with professional planners and architects. where the kids would show what they're thinking. They'd then have a few weeks to include those ideas into the program. I don't believe they're going to have time to do that. They're giving the final presentations on Columbus Day for those towns. When we get the links, if somebody is going to want that, reach out to myself, Michelle, or Nick, and we'll try to get that to you. But we're probably not going to share that out to just everybody, so it doesn't get crazy on there, because more people you put on Zoom, you know how it is. Because this meeting is off a week, we had the planning board meeting last week, had a couple referrals, and one of them was for a community solar project in the town of Alfred. It's right on the edge of the village of Alfred. And the primary thing that we had some concerns, mostly myself, was stormwater runoff going into Cancadia Creek. And we asked them to take a look at if the infrastructure in the village can handle that. And they said that would be part of the stormwater prevention plan effort anyway. So they're supposed to look at that still. They did approve that. There's a shared services meeting scheduled for next week on the 29th at 6 p.m. That's a Zoom meeting with the towns and villages and the county administrator, as well as our office. If anybody would like to get on that Zoom, also reach out to Michelle Denhoff in my office, and she will get you the Zoom link. Craig's here. Good. Well, we've been working on the flip side, the Wild Souls, Wild Places video campaign, the social media campaign, went live at the beginning of September. That is being targeted in the Buffalo market through Facebook ads. And so if anybody happens to click anything that they're interested in related to hunting, fishing, hiking, living, rural living, and it hopefully will grab them and bring them here, and they will see the first of the 4 videos that were worked on, which was Nick Arquette's video. You may have seen it out there. If it's not being targeted to this area, it's a minute and a half kind of telling what brought Nick from Chicago to this area. So it's so far, the first week that it was live, many people had watched the full video, which is a little unusual, our consultant said. So we're pretty happy with those initial statistics. We'll see how it continues. In October, we trade a different person up and their video. In November, there'll be someone else. In December, someone else. We're also simultaneously putting together some interviews with Swain Ski Resort to look toward the winter months and trying to get them to get a little more recognition. And we'll be doing some social media campaign using those interviews. I'll let, since Craig is here, I'll let him take the next bullets. And lastly, I'm looking to do a $15,000 transfer in the development budget from the conference line to the marketing line so that we can do those Swain purchases and some other social media marketing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before you get to your request, a couple questions. Going back to the online marketing, is that something, the data on engagement and so forth, something you could provide to the board with little or no work?
Yes, we'll get a report, typically monthly. We did get an early one just to see how it was going. So we're expecting around the 1st of October to get how do we do in September? And then we'd have that, yes.
How do marketers like this group, how do they quantify engagement, online engagement to actual boots on the ground in the wilds?
So it's a challenge, for sure. What we are looking for initially is getting the word out. And so if we can get people to actually click on something, that's the first win. If they start to watch the video and they watch part of it, that's a win. If they watch the entire video, that's a real win. And if they click down to our microsite, that's something we can measure. Each of those steps are measurables. People moving here is going to take longer. And that will be the kind of thing where we'll have to keep an eye on the sales of real estate. Perhaps if there's more outreach for, I'd like to bring my little business here, those kinds of things. That's going to take a much longer time and will be harder to measure.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Legislator Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. I just want to comment on some of the revitalization things that are going on in the townships and applaud your office's involvement in that as well and helping that to happen. There's some really great things happening out there in the towns and villages, and one in particular, I just want to highlight that Alfred State Architectural Program. I'm sorry to hear that it's only half semester now, but it's really fostered a lot of enthusiasm and new ideas in the township. So thank you for your involvement and keeping that going.
That works in tandem with the local waterfront revitalization plan effort and some of these folks doing comprehensive plans. All these things work together and eventually lead to Main Street revitalization grant applications and other programs that they can go after because they'll have the backup materials to do that.
Legislator Healy?
Yes, going back to some of that, the website interaction from the public, the so-called clicking that you referred to. And so that's all being tracked and is useful data in obtaining additional funding, both for the county and in the local communities. Is that correct?
The big dream here is that we bring more people back to the county and either to work or to set up businesses. But second homes is another thing that is tracked by the state, and most years the state puts that into the tourism report that Gretchen talks about, and that's usually the big chunk for us. So second homes is a big win too. So
all useful information.
yep.
Thank you.
Legislator Dibble?
Thank you. Looking at you mentioned bringing business here. It's exciting to me to have Armstrong come in and warp half our county under federal grant. Maybe that's why it's happening, because they've got high-speed stuff. A question for the county administrator, I think we're looking with Armstrong to another 25%, making progress to warp more of our county on another federal grant. Is it moving forward, or?
I have not heard from Armstrong about their desire to do anything with federal grant money at this time. I know we've talked about it in the past, and our door is always open to those sorts of conversations, but at this point in time, I'm not aware of them pursuing any of those things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Legislator Healy?
Madam Administrator, but didn't Armstrong express some interest in utilizing some of their own funds to build out?
I believe they were utilizing their own funds to build out and then looking for the availability of grant funds to go even further. They may also be able to apply for some funding directly now that they weren't able to do in the past, which is why we were a partner with them. So I don't know. Honestly, I have not talked to them in probably 2 months to hear where they're looking to go.
But with or without any additional funding, their plan was to look at building out further. Is that correct?
It was, and I know they're quite busy, and I believe they are reaching more and more customers every day.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I've forgotten, did we approve that?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll move it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second? It's moved by Legislator Healy, and a second? Legislator Dibble. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved.
That's all I
Thank you.
had. Thank you. Not sure who's up.
Next on the list is Gretchen Hanchett, GACCC Executive Director for their monthly report.
Good afternoon, everybody. I did turn in my report, so is there any questions at this time? All right. I'll start by going through and highlighting. With our Fresh Air Adventures partnership, we are now getting about 75% of the travel guide requests are coming through that program. So it certainly is a good investment, and I look forward as we move into the next year of different marketing ideas that we'll be doing with Livingston, Wyoming, Genesee, and Orleans counties. So I think it's a good partnership and really kind of fits who we are. So it's nice to see that growing there. We're continuing to develop our new travel guide and have been meeting with Josiah Brown. And if any of you remember, he was the one that worked with our branding and really kind of gave a new look. Unfortunately, last year we lost our graphic designer, Rick McClay, and he worked for the county in many different aspects, but also with tourism and developing the travel guide for many years. So we're kind of starting at scratch, trying to develop a database on that, but I think you're going to be very excited about the new look of the travel guide. I don't have all the ins and outs to it yet. They're putting together a proposal, but you will not have to fight with that map in the center and with that staple. We're looking at gluing a regular folded map on the front inside. And I say glue, it's kind of like that sticky stuff that pulls off and doesn't rip your guide. So that's moving forward. Sometimes it feels like I have some of the same things on, but this is stuff that takes time and work and development and putting that together. Our A2D website has now been updated, and we are always tweaking it and moving it along. And we'll start out another promotion on getting people back on it and helping everybody join the team of promoting Allegheny County. In working with what development is doing with their videos and getting people there, it's kind of nice to have that additional effort. We are also doing some videos, and I talked about them, a marketing program that we're working on that doing videos about camping, day on the water, events, outdoor sports, our trails, shopping, which is also going to be content is going to be developed too that they'll add to the tourism website. So that's been an exciting project. The other thing that I'll highlight briefly here too is we updated our Tourism Matters. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. And as Kira pointed out, really is difficult to find out if they're in here, if they're not, where the numbers come from. The thing is we are always using apples to apples when we're comparing it. And as we've talked about this company before, Oxford, they're world-renowned, and the statistics are used across the board. And what was pointed out, which has always been a big impact on our tourism report, and this is a state report, this is not something that we put together, is our second homes. And in 2019, and that's what this is from, we put numbers, everything's running even later than usual. It's usually a year behind. It'll be interesting to see 2020. But 48 million of the 73, almost $74 million brought into our county is second homes. And as I've always pointed out before, what's really interesting, where I think we'll see a change in the 2020 report is with our food and beverage. You might see that drop down. But we also saw our campgrounds and recreations jump right up too. So I'm looking at that. Oh, I can't call on you.
The dollar amount you quoted for second homes, is that sales at second homes?
When they say second homes, that's part of that. It's the purchase of second homes. What money goes into it? It could be the real estate. It could be lawyers' fees are in it. It's kind of meshed in with the finance and business part.
So it's the new acquisition of second homes and related
Yes.
expenditures.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right. And, we've talked about this before, and it's really one of the unique things about Allegheny County. There's property owned in Allegheny County all over the country, in all states but two, and a lot in Canada. So that's, and more are coming. We are opened up now. We have the opportunity of being in a rural area, People are wanting to get out of the city. We just need to keep working on our internet access, which is happening by many different means and methods to get to all the corners and locations that we need to get. So I think we're headed in the right direction. People want something different. The pandemic changed that. So, and in the last 12 years, we went back to the other numbers where we started at. And as far as tourism spending within Allegheny County, it's increased over 36%, which is, where do you get the numbers? What does it include? It includes a lot of different things, but it includes statistics that they use and then numbers that we turned in. I have turned in some of our 2020 numbers and 2021 numbers, so we'll see what happens with that. I know sales tax went up. How does that reflect how these reports come out? I know that they are looking at, in the tourism industry, of pulling together some more information that would be a little bit more useful for our industry to decide which direction we need to go in, how we're going to recover. We look at lodging. We certainly have room to increase that impact in lodging, 2.7 million. Recreation, everybody's working harder than heck trying to get those numbers up and trying to create destinations with our trails and, have the kayaking and so there's lots of things that will be going on with that. So transportation, I know that was something that students talked about when they were giving their presentation for Amity, trying to figure out the way to bring it in. And we all have been around long enough to know, do we have enough buses? How do you cover that big of a spot? If you get here at this time, what time will you get home? So still looking at those types of challenges too. So Steve and I went to Tall Pines Farm Fest. It was very interesting, very busy, very dirty. I had to bring our tourism information mobile unit, I work on that all the time, down and scrub it down, but it's nice seeing so many people there having fun, enjoying it. Breakfast, that parking lot was packed, and they really have a great time. They truly are an asset to our county, as a lot of our campgrounds and a lot of the things that are going on now. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going on, and I'm looking forward to next year. So, yes. Oops, I can't call on you.
I noticed. I also noticed that you were had the tourism trailer over at the Garlic Festival this weekend. Also, that
The Garlic Festival was fabulous this year. Beautiful weather, and they had about 7,300 people through the gate, and that's from the chamber, they let me know. But people were happy to get out. The music was fantastic, as it always this year, and garlic all over. And I talked to people from all over. People plan to come from Pennsylvania, from Buffalo, from Rochester, to the Garlic Festival, so it's quite a draw.
Cuba was certainly busy this weekend.
It was.
It was good to see. Thank you.
Good place to be.
Any other questions for Gretchen? Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Next is Craig Clark, Economic and Development, Industrial Development Agency, monthly report. Good afternoon.
Well, it was for you too, Mike. I've given you a report again. If there are any questions, I'll entertain them. Then we'll go through some highlights as well.
Is your microphone on?
The button. It's on now. How's that?
Okay.
Is that better?
That's better.
So again, I'll go through some highlights on the report, and then you can ask any questions as I go through or anything else that pops up. We are continuing to work at the Crossroads project, and I have two hotel developers. They're both telling me it wouldn't be any earlier than January as a commitment. One of them is fairly committed. The other one says they're very interested. I'm working on a third to try to get that going a little quicker. The Angel Fund does have a project they're working at. We have a term sheet we're reviewing right now. It'll be a nice little project in the county. Wellsville Business Park, I continue to talk to the owners, meeting with them Friday with a project potential in that facility. You've all read, this was written before the Great Lakes Cheese press release that they're going to Franklinville, which was no surprise. We'll continue to work with Great Lakes Cheese on that facility in Cuba and with the Cuba community, hopefully to make sure that something gets into that facility. There's been a lot of interesting ideas already come up. Clean energy projects, no new ones, but we continue on those. Anything on the first page before I go? Don't try to go too fast, but I got a lot of stuff. Yes?
Back up to
Bill?
the restaurant, comments?
No comments on the restaurant yet. We still have one person we've talked to, but they weren't totally interested, but I'm reaching out to some other national chains as well.
The Great Lakes cheese plant in Cuba currently,
Right.
that's on the tax roll, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, it
And
is.
there's no plan to do anything where that'd be taken off?
There's no plans of taking it off the tax roll. We're talking to them about how potentially we can get another tenant in there in the future, but no. They've given all kinds of options for the community as to what they could do with that facility, so no.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on the first page? Don't mean to go too fast, but no, your
I'll
time
just
is
comment.
precious here.
Just a comment,
Sure.
backing up to the crossroads and
Sure.
the hotels. I gotta tell you, it's more and more, every time I go by the Quicklies up there, that place is packed.
Yeah.
They don't have enough parking.
Which is nice. It's a good thing.
Nice, right?
yes.
It's unbelievable, and I just have to think that all that sales tax that's being generated there, and it's certainly been a plus and turned out to be a very positive project, I think, for the county. Both it's got a very nice appearance and very professional looking, and plus the amount of sales tax it's generating. So
Yeah, it's one of the best travel centers around, I think. They've done a really good job. And it's going to help with the hotel development piece as well, because now we have true data that people are stopping. It's not like, did they just drive by? There are people stopping, and it's doing very, very well.
I've had to pass up stopping just because there was no room to stop. So that's a good problem.
Yeah, the other morning when I went to work over there, I was surprised how busy it was. It wasn't just all the gas, filling stations were full, but the whole parking lot was full, and there was no place for trucks to park. So it was the busiest I'd ever seen it. It was kind of interesting. So I know Quicklies is very, very happy about their decision, and so are we.
Are you passing that on to other developers?
Yes.
How happy they are?
Well, not how happy they are, but the fact that we now have traffic counts, and they're sharing that information, so yes. So I think that makes a big difference. That's why we do have at least two people. I'm trying to get a third company interested, because we have something to show. Before it was just, you want me to build a hotel here? But now it's, you want to build me a hotel here? Yes, because it's a good place to be.
Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Legislator Brooke Harris?
along the same lines, are the schools cooperative in providing you with information on special events, number of attendees, and so forth, whether it's Alfred or
We had a full set of those from before, and they're available. I mean, we condensed them all when we did the hotel sales. The first one had never worked. We collected all that information, so we have that available, yes.
That was all
We
part
should
of,
update it, but we do have that from all three colleges.
that was all
Thank you.
part of the HSBC study.
We added to that.
Okay. And build
HSBC
on
study
from
was basically kind of just saying, was there enough traffic? We added all the fact that the three colleges have a lot of events, as well as travel teams and other things, and this Pakula Sports Center actually has probably the most. I think it's something like 40,000 visitors a year.
And all that information is available for any of the legislators if they
Yes.
want to peruse it. Thank you.
Yeah, we put that together, so, and they've been very helpful. Micro enterprise grants, we continue on that. Hopefully, we'll still get another one. We haven't talked to them recently, but we will talk about getting another grant. Those have worked very well, and thank you, Cindy, for putting those all in the paper. They're a really good group, aren't they? Yeah. Other projects, we're still working on a startup Allegheny group, which includes the three colleges. There will be another business competition next spring, which we'll make sure everybody gets invited to. The last one was really, really good. Continue to work with LC Whitford. There's some movement on some potential on the Kmart Plaza, so hopefully we can announce something that in the near future. No guarantee, because until it's done, it's not done, but it's moving, so we'll see that.
Reach
Yes, it's retail. And Kira already mentioned it, but the Appalachian Regional Commission Teaching Project is the students, when they get done with these projects, they present. Unfortunately, that we just found out last week, it's going to be virtual. Typically, it was in Washington, D.C., and that was a really good way to get across what we're doing in Allegheny County, and the students from Alfred State always did the best job at that presentation. It was really nice because we get to meet with the co-chair and all his staff, or it's her staff now, excuse me, but all his staff down there, so that's always been a good event. And I'm finally traveling. There's the New York State Economic Development Council is next week, and that's all I typically have, because advertising and marketing, a lot of that, Kira already went over that, as far as what we're trying to do with the Western New York Wilds, which I think will make a big difference, and we'll have enough click-throughs to figure out if it's made a difference, so.
Any other questions for Craig?
Sorry.
Yes.
No, I'm not sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Dibble.
Craig, do you have an update on Tracewell?
Tracewell Building, they're still negotiating with the nation, but I have no update.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any shift in strategies or guidance in the industrial development world with the changes up in the executive?
Well, we've already tried to work with the new governor, Hochul, and I think things will change. I mean, I was just talking to West Buffalo Niagara yesterday, and we're hoping the same thing, that some of those things that in the past kind of hurt economic development, I think we can get past that with the new governor, yes. That's the plan. So we've already reached out to her. And I forgot to mention, it's on my phone, it wasn't on my list.
At least she doesn't dislike the southern tier.
Yes, she knows where it is. How's that? But we're also going to work with Invest Buffalo Niagara, which I'm on the board, on an EDA grant. We won't be the lead, we'll be part of it. They're looking to, it's called Build Back Better Regional Challenge. And I've talked to them, and one of the things they're talking about is doing site development. Because the real issue is there's not just enough sites ready in the Hall of Western New York, including us. So it could be pretty big. They're talking about $500,000 for studies and 25 to 35 million in a region to help them. So, and I think Invest Buffalo Niagara is pretty well positioned to do those kind of things. They do have a really good staff.
Anything else? Yes.
Just a comment. I think we need to develop a better report of RG&E. If you look at the comp plan for the county, right down the middle of the county is our Rochester Gas and Electric. And one of the problems we've had is getting a time frame for big businesses with lots of power. We need to work with this and get it better. So if we get somebody coming in, we can get them here and give them
And a reasonable
firm
time
date,
frame, yeah.
Reasonable time frame.
I don't disagree. In fact, I'm going to do some work that we politically to see if we can do some stuff working with the Public Service Commission on that. Because it's important.
Real important.
Yeah.
I have a question about the cheese plant.
Sure.
The new site in Cattaraugus County, how far is that from Cuba's plant?
The
travel
Franklinville,
time.
it's within that 30-minute drive from Cuba. In fact, if you look on the map, it's closer than some of the other sites I looked at from Allegheny County, except for at the Belmont site.
So, as far as employees of the cheese plant that live in Allegheny County, is that site going to make a big difference as far as their travel time?
Well, it will, because I think they gave us like 80% of them live within like a few miles. So it's going from a few miles to probably 25 to 30 miles. So it's a huge difference for them, but it's manageable. As you well know, a lot of people drive a lot further than 30 minutes.
Right.
So that was their goal, to try to, yeah, that was best to keep them close enough so they could keep those employees, and they'll have an option to stay employed. And that's why Great Lakes Cheese made that commitment to, be within that 30-minute drive. So yes, that's a good thing. I think the bad thing, obviously, longer term, we don't know what that impact will have, but short term, it'll keep the Cuba people employed.
Legislator Dibble.
Thank you. I hope that Cat County Public Works would, for public safety, would upgrade the highway up to Ross Road to Abbott's and out the back road to Franklinville. It's kind of
Yeah, it's not a great drive.
It needs to be upgraded.
I'll talk to them about that, yeah.
Any other questions? Yes. from the press.
Marsh acres, acreage at the western part of the Crossroads development, how many acres are there left that you can develop without Bears Lane?
We have 18 acres,
18.
1/8. And we have some plans that are already starting to develop for that out there. Including obviously
Anything
a
else?
hotel, restaurant, and some other activities.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you. Give me a call if there's anything else, you know that, any of you, or stop by.
Any old business? Hearing none. Any new business? Oh, yes, go ahead, Legislator Dibble.
Business. I passed you out a copy of today's Patriot, page 8. It's got a little thing in there about me back 25 years ago. Talks about trails. Be a copy in the P&D minutes back then. Also, we formed Allegheny Trails in 2000. And I'd like to see the pathway from state line up to B&S to Belfast called the Upper Genesee Trail. I think it's worthwhile. You might take a look at some of that old stuff back in the 96 P&D file, see what was planned back then, and use it today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Any new business? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Legislator Dibble and Legislator Curran. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.